you get to be liberated too. You know, yesterday you prayed on your knees and it was successful. Well, today you're going to pray standing up with your arms stretched to the sky, because that's how the Spirit leads you. A child gets that they're not in charge. That in an environment like school, they know they're going to have to sit down, they're going to have to stand up, they're going to have to line up, they're going to have to go to recess, they're going to have to come in at a certain time, they're going to have to do this, and today we're going to do something different, boys and girls. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, today we're going to have a quiz. Okay, what are we going to do now? Today we're going to try this new book. Today, in God, we have to be like those children that know the one thing that will be there in exactly the same every single day is God's faithfulness. But how He shows it, and how we thank Him for it, and how it affects our day should and will change all the time. And we have to be people that treat every single new day like a single new day. And the good news is that means we cannot bring in the crud from the day before. And believe it or not, I can actually do that at first. I can get up in the morning and feel all cruddy and go, no, this crud is from yesterday. I just got up. There's no crud yet. Well, let's be realistic. It's still there. Well, we don't know what God's done on our behalf while we were asleep. We don't. He works 24/7. We don't know what He's done. We don't know what He's going to do that day. But isn't it nice to get before Him and thank Him just in case? Get before Him and say, thank you for how you've solved yesterday's crud, so I won't pick it up and carry it into today. If it arrives, we'll talk again. If it rears its ugly head, we'll talk again. And of course, God, I'm scared about this. I want to let go of this. I want to start a new day, but this is all I can think about. But how nice to get before the Lord first thing in the day. The Bible says to do that, but most people don't. I don't always do it. I try to remember, and then even I get up and I go, well, okay, when I'm more awake, I'll pray. Well, I'm praying now. God, please forgive me for not praying all day. Amen. Okay, so, but seriously, He gives us an opportunity of freshness and newness and hope of every single new day. Every single new day. But we, being our own demigods, say, no, I want today to be a continuation of the last 365 times how many? In my case, 21. And, you know, we want it to be the same. We carry everything in, and we are only as evolved as our stories. You know, you meet new people, and you find out from them in the course of 15 minutes what their story is. You know, I was, I had this disease as a kid, or I was, in jail for this, or I have this disease, or I'm 10 years divorced and still suffering. You know, everybody's got a story, and it's usually negative. It's usually negative. Usually people present their negative story the first time you meet them. And you think about it and you go, that's their identity. That's the first thing they volunteer. First thing they volunteer. And you think about it and you go, well, that's the first thing you think you need to share when you're making new friends. What's your life like? What's your day like? You know, what's your perspective of the universe? And of course you meet other people who give a different story. A lot of times it's something they accomplished 20 years ago. Or it's something that they want to present as positive, and you can see they're trying to put themselves in the best light possible. I had a meeting with someone who's a retired opera singer. And we had dinner together, and he said, he would ask me questions about my music, and every time I tried to answer a question, he went off and told another story about, touring with the Metropolitan. And anybody who is anybody knows that's one hell of an accomplishment. No question. There's no competition. No competition. And there was no competition for me. I didn't feel intimidated. I didn't feel like I had to keep pumping myself up. I felt like I'd love to hear all this. Except when it starts with, so Paisley, tell me about this. And then he goes into it. And finally I said, my gosh, this was the love of your life. Why did you stop? And he's like, well, I stopped. That's why I stopped. I stopped. Well, we know what that means. We know that we went from whatever the peak is to some type of next step down and did not want to continue singing publicly if our voice wasn't going to be the best it was. That was a fact. I didn't say that. And again, how much more can you respect someone who walks away and doesn't keep, beating a dead horse? It was all good. But he said to me, he goes, I have a question for you. And I said, what? And he goes, tell me about your best performance. And the answer I gave ended all further communication. The answer I gave ended all further communication. It'd be really fun to, walk around and say, what do you think I said? What do you think I said? What do you think I said? So tell me later if something popped in your head that you think I said. Because I know everybody here thinks I said something smart-assy. But I didn't. It was a serious meeting. I was really well behaved. And I said, I'm kind of a foodie. I really like food. And people always ask me, what's your favorite food? And I always say, whatever's currently on my plate. It's like, I love sushi, but I had Subway tonight, and when I was eating Subway, I spent the whole time going, I love Subway. I don't want to go, I didn't think I'd rather be eating sushi. Whatever was in front of me that I liked is my favorite meal. And he goes, what does that have to do with your performance? And I said, my favorite performance is the next one I give. And he looked at me like, you're not a real performer. You're not a real singer. You're not serious at what you do. I could see it in his eyes, and I was like, and I had just done a show that night. And I said, the next performance I give will be my favorite performance. And he looked at me and goes, well, that's not possible. I said, how is that not possible? And he goes, well, how do you know that performance is going to be better than the one tonight? Was tonight that bad? I said, no, tonight was wonderful. He goes, what, so tonight was the best performance of your life? I said, it was the only one. And in about an hour, it won't exist anymore. In fact, once I have my after-show dinner, it's on to the next performance, and it's the only one I get. It's the only one. It's irrelevant if I've performed for the president, or if I performed for the Queen, or when I go into Ace Hardware, there's a lady that goes, you've been on cable. I know you've been on cable. It's irrelevant if I've been on cable. By the way, if she were here, she'd be laughing at my imitation. That is obnoxious. I'm telling you, it's like walking into a sitcom when I go into that store. That's Paisley Yankolovich, and he's been on cable. Tells everybody in the store. She runs around screaming. I'm like, can you please tell me where there's another Ace? That's what's right by my house. I don't want to go in there again. Then she charges me for a caramel. I want a free caramel. She charges me. I go, you can exploit me, but I don't get a kernel. But anyways, yeah, even though I'm famous at Ace Hardware, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to what I will do 2 nights from now. And what I do 2 nights from now will be the best performance of my life, because it's the only one that matters. It doesn't matter what success I've had before. It doesn't matter, when I wowed them. It doesn't matter, what awards I've won in the past. It doesn't matter how many records I've sold. It doesn't matter who's liked me. Forgive the vernacular. It doesn't matter how many people come to the Lord either through my ministry, because everything's done. It's finished. It's taken care of. But whatever happens 2 nights from now is all I get. It's my one shot. And it may be my last shot. We don't know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's it. And he was like, my favorite performance. And he started talking about, what opera he was performing, and that he just felt it, that he inhabited it, and he had this it, and he had that it. And I sat there and I went, I have never performed in my entire life without feeling like that every time. I've never done it. I said, I will not open my mouth to speak. I will not get on stage to act. I will not sing. I will not play if I'm not inhabiting what I'm doing entirely. And yes, some nights it comes easier, some nights it comes harder, some nights it works, some nights it doesn't. I was watching America's Got Talent last night, and the poor girl sang off key the whole time. It was sad. She completely inhabited that song. She just sang off key. It happens. There's a difference between getting it right and being there for it. And I said, wow, I've never once said, I inhabited this better last night than I am tonight, and last night was my peak performance and tonight isn't. He was disgusted. He was disgusted. I said, how many performances have you given? He goes, too many to mention. And I said, that should be your answer, which is your best performance. Too many to mention. Too many to mention. I said, I bet every time you open your mouth to sing, God smiles. How do you beat that? Do you make him smile more? Does he show more gum? Seriously, how do you get more than you make God smile? Seriously, how do you top that? Because I don't like the way you're talking to me. The guy was offended. The guy was offended that I did not agree in a hierarchy of performance. Everyone I know who's an artist and not a beanbag gives it their all every time. The best they have that day, and that's all you have. I'm going to give you all the money in my pocket. Some days I have $1 million, and some days I have pocket change. But I'm going to give you all of it. That's all I got. And that's all you can expect, and that's all God can expect. So it's nicer to have $1 million to give away. But in the end, you gave it all. Period. And I absolutely do not ever stand here and go, I remember the day when, and judge against one another, because I know God's smiling. And in the end, that's money in the bank. You know what I mean? That's it. That's like an amazing accomplishment. Seriously, how many people literally walk around and go, I don't care if you like me, I make God smile. I know I make him laugh because I know I'm funny. Because he hadn't heard the lab report CAT scan joke till I told it to him. But seriously, I know I'm an example of a single person using their very singular abilities to try to reach people for Jesus. And I know that is the optimum goal for every person of God. That I know. So tomorrow when I wake up, I am not going to go, wow, I was really good sermonizing last night, and wow, I told a really good joke, and oh, I delivered it, wow, you know, and I hit the high notes on There Is Hope without bursting too many eardrums, but I'm not going to do that. I don't even think like that. I mean, obviously I think like that because I came up with all that, but generally speaking, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and go, I need to start fresh. I need to start over. I need to regroup. I need to find out what God's doing today, because God knows what I'm going to face. God knows what is coming in my life. And God knows what He's going to need from me to bring to my life today. And I'm thinking it's not going to be that joke, that sermon, those songs. I don't think it's going to be any of that. It's going to all be Him. It's all going to be what He whips up for the day. So to me, I wake up and I sneak into God's kitchen to see, you know, what's cooking. And I really do see life like that. I really do. And of course I wish things were different. I wish my problems were solved. I wish all kinds of stuff were different all the time. But I know that for me to have any peace, to have any joy, and to have any hope in my life, all of that has to go back to yesterday. That I have to start today. I have to start today and say, nothing's happened yet, nothing bad has happened yet, nothing good has happened yet, whatever it is. And I need to get before the Lord, and I need to start my day. The Bible refers to it ordering your day before the Lord. I need to order my day before I say, yeah, I got these things coming up. Is there anything, first and foremost, I can take off my list? That's one of my favorites. I have a list of 15 things to do. Let's get it down to 5. I love days when you really can. And you go, you know what? I really don't ever need to do that. I haven't done it yet. But cleaning, why? Why? I'm the only one here, you know? But I know that there's no chance at hope and peace and joy without a clean slate. That I know. Now I also know that there are days that before you even get out of bed, you've lived a long enough day. I know that. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have the phone calls start coming early in the morning, and the problems, and the this, and the whatever's going on. My favorite is the cat coming into my room and barfing. By the time 9 o'clock rolls around, sometimes I've really contributed enough to this day. Maybe if I go to sleep for another 8 hours, I can get a new day. I know we all have days like that, but it's not every day. And if it is every day, then we have a whole other problem, but that's for another sermon. Generally speaking, we don't have more problems in a day than we can handle. It just seems like it's too much. But a lot of times it feels so heavy because we drag in all the crud from the day before. And we have to get to the point where we forgive the day before. We just forgive the day before. Say, today was really chock full of issues and concerns, but it's over. I remember when I was a kid, I took one of those teen tours to Europe, and the leaders told us kids a story about how no one likes a complainer. And the story they told was, these kids were at camp, and there were 2 of them in a bunk, and one of them was trying to sleep, and the other one was going, I am so thirsty. I am so thirsty. Oh my gosh, I've never been so thirsty in my life. I'm parched. How am I ever going to get to sleep being this thirsty? Oh my gosh, I'm so thirsty. It's like I haven't had a drop to drink in years. And finally, the person on the bottom bunk runs and gets them a glass of water, hands it to them and says, now we're going to go to sleep. Crawls into bed, you're going to sleep, and all of a sudden the person on the bottom bunk hears, "I was so thirsty. I can't believe how thirsty I was." And I know that person. I've been that person. And I remember on the trip, I waited to the perfect night to pull that on my roommate. To lay in bed. I am so thirsty. And I got hit with a pillow. But we do that. We do that. Oh my gosh, can you believe how bad yesterday was? Wow. Yesterday was like the worst day of my life. Let me tell you about it. I love when people see me and they go, "How are you?" I go, "I'm having a crappy day." And they'll say, "Well, what's going on?" "What, I'm going to relive it?" I just survived till this long. Should I run through it again? You really want to be there when I do that? Seriously, at some point, we have to know the difference between sharing our problems with the expectation of prayer and encouragement and, God willing, a solution, to just dragging all the crap from the day before. Every single day, God gives us a new day. And the purpose of a new day is a fresh start. We tell people this, we have slogans about this, but we don't really live it. We don't say, "I need to start completely new, completely fresh," because we don't really understand the simplicity that God has called us to in humbling ourselves as children before Him. Because children wake up, healthy children, little children, wake up expecting the day to be something. And they expect it to be something they have no words for because their vocabulary doesn't know those words yet. They expect to be learning something, experiencing something, exploring something. They expect excitement. They expect play. They expect to go to bed wiped out from all they absorbed from a new day. And we, as old fart Christians, need to realize that Jesus called us to that we are supposed to wake up new and young in the Lord every single day. Amen?
Amen.
And that's